Hello and welcome to my channel AB Make It Artwork, where we do what we do to make that artwork for you. And if you're new to my channel, maybe hit that subscribe button, join the AB Creative Crew. We do sketchy art things. And today's video is going to be a different kind of video. Instead of being like art rant, art ramble, doodle time, it's a rant, but it's a life rant. And today's life rant is going to be about fixing bad habits, and the type of bad habits that I need to fix are in regards to weight loss. So I'm going to start off with some background. This is about like 2 years ago. Well, actually, I'm trying to think for a bit if it was 2 or 3. I've been with my husband for a year in Guam. It's been like 2 years in the making. And before my husband and I got married, there was a year in which I was homeless. And I was staying with my mom in her motorhome with her husband. And over the winter, there's not like a lot you can do except for like curl up under comforters and stay warm. And when you're homeless, you kind of just like eat what you can get, and what you can get is like cheap fast food. And so it's like not moving, not doing an activity except for like going to college when I could, well, when I needed to, and just coming back home to sleep. That's what I did for pretty much a winter, and it kind of sucked. And before that winter had hit, I was like wearing a size pants 7. I was around 150 pounds, 155. And I felt pretty good about like my size, my weight, and everything. And then here's the other kicker. I didn't have a scale to see how much I weighed until it was preparations for stuff like a month before the wedding. And like I hadn't checked actually maybe till 2 weeks before the wedding. Maybe it was 3. I don't know. We had gotten most of the stuff done. And it was at that point that I found out that I was 180 pounds. That over the winter, I had gained 30 pounds. And I was really sad about that. I was really sad that pants that had fit me a summer before I couldn't fit into anymore, and it kind of felt gross. It's kind of sad to say that like my wedding was like the most beautiful day, and like I do think that I felt beautiful at my wedding, but when I look back at those photos of my wedding day, like sad truth is that like I don't feel pretty in those photos, which I might like throw one of my photos up from the wedding like on the screen. Like lovely photos, but like I didn't feel very pretty with how like big my arms looked and all that stuff. Afterwards went to Guam and I tried to do exercise, but then I did a monthly drawing challenge that was very extensive. It was a double challenge, and you probably know it, and most of you come here because of that challenge, which was the Sketchbook Slam challenge. And if you've ever participated in it, it requires a lot of sitting down, a lot of filling out of pages, and I went all out for that challenge. I was not going to just do one drawing on a page. I was going to fill up my pages as much as I could and get them done. But that just required a lot of sitting still and being stationary. And Guam being so hot, like it's hard to go back outside or do any outside exercise. So I became really stationary, and that kind of just set me back in the habit of being stationary and just not having, like, after the challenge I felt really accomplished and I thought I was going to get back into exercise, but like I just didn't. So I had low energy. I felt upset about how much I weighed, and by the time that my husband and I left Guam, I found out that I gained like another 15 pounds, and I was like 190 to 195. And I was not happy to know that I had gained, in essence, 40 to 45 pounds in like 2 years. I didn't feel good about that. So I made it a goal of mine that I was going to lose weight because I wanted to improve my health and create like better fit and healthy habits. Because I guess other stuff is that like on my female line, we're high risk for diabetes. There's like lots of heart conditions too. And like there's no doctor pushing me to lose weight, but it's like I'm aware of these factors. So it's like I want to do this to improve my health, improve my energy, and just create better fit healthy habits. So what are my bad habits? Well, my bad habits include the fact that because I draw a lot, or I use drawing as an excuse sometimes, that I sit down and I stay stationary for too long. So it's a habit of mine to want to sit down and not move for hours at a time. And that's not a very good habit to have if you're trying to like lose weight and get healthier. Like taking breaks is okay, but sitting for 8 to 10 hours of a day and maybe barely moving around doesn't really help. Another thing is that like for a while I was eating at very sporadic times. Like I didn't have any set schedule, so it's like I'd either overeat or undereat, and since like I would do that, it would make for like it's easier to gain weight if you have an infrequent schedule for how much you do and do not eat, or so it's been said by a lot of people who will like through weight loss and lots of dietitian websites. I'm not gonna link any because it's like been years since I've studied that, but like I remember that kind of info being out there in the world. And just like a lack of awareness of what food I was eating, because there were days when I was in Guam where if my husband was on duty, which means he's like on base for 24 hours, in which I would just eat a bag of potato chips, like salt and vinegar potato chips, and that would be like my meal for the day. And maybe a like bowl of ramen with salsa and egg, which I love doing that with my ramen. But like that doesn't sound very good for your body when you're only like putting like high carb and like just sitting around all day. And I wanted to fix these habits. And the way I'm kind of like I'm going about losing weight and fixing my habits is I calorie count. I have a green little notebook, and it's called like a fat little notebook, so I added a title to it, Getting Thinner with My Fat Little Notebook. I'll probably put a picture of that on screen too. And that keeps me mindful of what food I am putting into my body. I have a fitness tracker in one of my planners and also in my fat little notebook. I have a little fitness tracker and I just color in what kind of activity did I do for the day. So right now I go to a gym with a friend of mine. We're gym buddies and we're having a really great time with it. Sometimes I'll do videos at home of different exercises and I'll like then integrate those exercises into our gym routine. And that's me getting up off my lazy butt and doing stuff. I also do, like these things all lead into each other. I do a lot of home meals. If I'm planning to eat out, I look up ahead of time how many calories are in the meal, unless the menu like states the calories, but usually I will look up before I go out to a restaurant or go out to hang with friends what's the calories for their meals. Like if you go to Dave & Buster's, their food is like 1,500 calories and above if you're getting a meal. And to kind of be an alternative, like I'll go for drinks, but it's like I make meals at home so that I know what I'm eating. I know how many calories it is. And another thing that I do that I also do with my husband is that I do carb alternatives. Instead of bread, I use lettuce to make sandwiches. Instead of rice, I use riced cauliflower. And I'm even going to be trying some veggie meat alternatives just to kind of try it and say I did it. And we've been doing a lot more white meats like chicken, sometimes pork, and fish. Because, what is it? They're like supposed to be high in aminos and like less fatty, is the idea with those. And I think the final thing that I've been trying with my husband is that I do fasting, or, well, for the most part, we do intermittent fasting, where we have a period in which we feast, which is from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's an 8-hour window, which we eat our daily required amount of calories. And then there's the hours of fasting, which is like we don't eat. So the other, what is it, like 14 hours of the day? 16, I think. Yeah, 16 hours of the day. Half of it's sleeping, the other half is just doing our usual activities. And with that, I also drink a lot of water, which I track my water with my calorie tracker. Well, my calorie counting little notebook. And these are just all things that I do, and you don't have to do it. But there was a period in which my husband and I did like a complete fast where we just did water fasting, and we did that for several days. I mean, if we were to ever do it again, we'd probably do it through the more proper process, because my husband kind of did it the way his friends did it, where they like had food one day and then just decided to kind of cut the food out cold turkey, with the exception of coffee with cream and sugar. Well, he had coffee with cream and sugar. I just had plain water. He'd probably be chuckling and saying, "That subtle shade, honey, subtle shade." Shade like a giant palm tree, my goodness. Sorry. Losing track of my mind. And we did that for 5 days. And through that experience, we realized, like, we just eat out of boredom. And that we don't need to consume as much stuff as we do with our snacking habits. But again, calorie counting keeps me accountable for what food I am putting into my body and like how much of it am I eating. And I really like that. And thus far, I have lost 15 pounds in a month and a half. I'm floating around 180, 182 this last week or so. And I just hope to continue to lose weight loss in like a healthy way, where it's like daily required amount of calories for the amount of activity I'm doing, and like exercise and all that stuff. And as I'm doing more exercise, I'll probably increase my calories, because it's like you can't just like starve your body if you're working more, because it's not a really good way to lose weight. So it might just be like water weight because I'm doing more exercise. So whatever, that was a tangent. So you're probably wondering what's up with the whole eat your broccoli bet. Now, this is a sort of story that I tell my husband and something I tell him if he's not doing what he's supposed to do. Like if he's putting off an activity that he's supposed to get done because he doesn't want to do it, because it's not what he wants to do, I tell him to shut up and eat your broccoli. Shut up and eat your broccoli, or grow up and eat your broccoli, or man up and eat your broccoli. Just eat your broccoli. And the story behind this whole thing with eat your broccoli is that during my junior year of high school, yes, this is the year that I met my husband that would become my boyfriend, and then my fiance, and then we got married, and it's been like so great. Anyways, in my junior year of high school, I decided that I was going to do like a self-imposed experiment in which I would eat broccoli. Because at the time, I didn't like the bitter taste of broccoli. I didn't really care for broccoli or cauliflower. But I figured, I wonder if I eat this thing enough times, can I make myself like it? And at first, I started off with ranch, because I don't like the bitter taste of broccoli on its own. I know a lot of us like steamed broccoli with cheese on it and butter, and it's like, you might as well just call it cheese and butter with broccoli on the side. But I decided to start off with ranch. And then after a while, I would use less and less ranch until I got to the point where I started to enjoy broccoli. And the metaphor that I want to go with is that, like, there's certain activities that we need to do, but we don't want to do because there's a bitter period of it, where we just don't like the taste of the activity or the responsibility of it. But over time, as you continue to, like, just do it and do it, you get used to it and you find out that you enjoy it after a certain point. And that by maintaining and doing this habit that you want to see, like making the change that you want to see, you end up getting good results. So that's eat your broccoli. Well, we're at the end of the video. I hope you're having a wonderfully creative day wherever you are. And as always, make sure to do what you do to make that artwork for you. And remember to eat your broccoli. Bye.